This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
Well, it was a homecoming night for the former San Jose State quarterback, now head coach of the Rebels, Marcus Arroyo. He went head-to-head against his best friend last night, the Spartans head coach, Brent Brennan. Brent was in his wedding. These guys text every day. They're super, super close. Oh, and we saw some throwback pictures last night, taking it back to the late 90s when Arroyo killed the game at San Jose State from 1998 to 2002. Hey, but last night wasn't all about Coach Arroyo. It was about his freshman receivers flashing and feeding the chuck wagon, literally.
You feed the chuck wagon, but then you got to feed Charles Williams, too.
Hey, everyone. Welcome into the Red Zone. The young Rebels showed their growth last night against a really, really good undefeated San Jose State team, but also had 7 penalties in the first half. 8 total in the game, and those mistakes led to the Rebels' 4th straight loss of the season. UNLV now 0-4 for the first time since 2004. But let's check out last night's game in San Jose State. The two best friends ready to battle it out. Arroyo still looking for his first win with his new program. San Jose State's Nick Starkel gets the start. He went down in the first drive last week against San Diego State, but he looks like he's ready to roll. You know who is ready to roll early in this game? Number 43, Malachi Salute. Tackle number 1 of his big 4 stops last night. Next drive, Max Gillum, his 4th consecutive start for UNLV. Feeds it to Chuck. Chuck to the outside, hurdles a dude, picks up the first down. Later, it's Gillum over to the freshman Kyle Williams. He's just warming up. The young Rebel had himself a career night in San Jose. The Rebels would later kick a field goal and take a 3-0 lead. Later in the first, Starkel over to Bailey Gaither, racing through defenders. Rebels can't catch him. 41 yards to the end zone. Spartans on top 7-3. 3 minutes and 30 left in the first. Starkel airs it out to Isaiah Holiness, and there's Salu again. Got an arm on it. One more time in slow motion, please. Beautiful. Salu tearing it up in the first half. San Jose State would kick a field goal and close out the first quarter with a 7-3 lead. Second quarter, this time it's Spartans quarterback Nick Nash. Yeah, they got 2 really good quarterbacks named Nick Squared, whatever you want to call them. Nick Nash can run, but not here. He's stuffed. Big stop for the Rebels. But this time, Starkel hands it off to Tyler Nevins for the score, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. Spartans jump out to a 17-3 lead in the second. And UNLV is going to mix it up with the quarterbacks, too. Out goes Max Gillum. In comes TCU transfer quarterback Justin Rogers. Rogers, with time, over the middle to a wide-open Kyle Williams. How about that? Justin Rogers, welcome to Division I college football, my man. His first touchdown pass of his collegiate career. I know Arroyo liked that. Rebels trail 17-10. 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in the second. Want some more big plays from the Rebels? How about this? Starkel lobs it deep right to Trey Kane, his first pick of the season. First pick of the season overall for UNLV. Little celebration with coach. Now let's see what happens next. Rogers feeds it to Williams. Williams bounces to the outside. Flag down on the play. Holding on UNLV's offense, and this would be just 1 of 7 penalties for UNLV in this first half. Later in the second, Starkel, first and goal at the 10-yard line, airs it out to Trey Walker. Another flag, pass interference on Bryce Jackson. So now the ball is at the 2. Quick pass to Gaither. He's in. San Jose State flashing their touchdown belt, and it's 24-10 Spartans. Third quarter, Jacoby Windman left open, big straight to Starkel, and he's down. Windman with 4.5 sacks on the season. Next drive, Rebels in the red zone. Rogers hands it off to the Chuck Wagon, and he flies over the goal line like Superman. The Chuck Wagon with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. Somebody feed the Chuck Wagon, but no, really, like someone get the dude a snack. Spartans answer back. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third. Starkel hands it off to Kerry Robinson. He finds some gaps, and that's San Jose State's 4th touchdown of the night. 31-17 Spartans. Rebels defense would respond in the 4th. Starkel airs it deep down the sideline. A big pass breakup from Aaron Lewis. Starkel tries again on the very next play. Nope. Vegas Vic with a hand on it. 2 back-to-back pass breakups from the Rebels D, but UNLV struggled to get anything going offensively in the 4th quarter. San Jose State with 7 quarterback sacks on the night, 3 of them coming from number 92 himself, Cade Hall. 6 minutes and 16 to go in the 4th. Broken up again, this time by Bryce Jackson. Spartans would settle for a field goal and take their 4th straight win this season, 34-17. San Jose State 4-0 for the first time since 1955. A historic season the Spartans are having right now. Coach Arroyo catching up with his friends, still really proud of his team's tremendous growth last night against one of the best teams in the Mountain West right now. Now joining us in the studio is head coach Marcus Arroyo. 8 penalties last night, but we did see a lot of good stuff on offense and defense. You said last night, there were a lot of teachable moments throughout the game. Going over film today, what stuck out this morning or today going through film that you're like, we got to clean that up this week?
Well, it's all over film. We got to do a lot better in a lot of areas. Our penalties have got to be something that are part of our signature. Our discipline and what we ask of our guys is really important in regards to how we win a football game. And that's going to be at the forefront of everything we do. Being a disciplined football team that understands how important those key plays are will never not be highlighted. I think we've got the opportunity tonight to really highlight some big plays that extended drives and turned into points. And you can't do that against anyone, let alone good teams. And we have a great opportunity for teachable moments, like I said last night, today, to put on those penalties on all sides of the ball, and to see how it correlates into that drive success and into winning success. And so that's going to be something that we're not going to stand for in regards to making sure we're a disciplined outfit. So disappointed to see how some of those took place. We've got to get them cleaned up. I've got to get them shored up for our guys because, again, it's hard those things are hard to overcome against anybody, but more often, even moreover, is against a good football team.
Well, you said you were going to rotate the 2 quarterbacks last night, Rogers and Gillum, in both halves. I'm just curious why Rogers, wasn't in the Fresno State game or wasn't in the past games. Was there just something in practice this week, or do you feel like he's maturing, or what was it, recently that you were like, let's rotate them against San Jose State?
Well, he's coming off of there was a little bit of a camp issue there in regards to his health that we've gone in and out of a little bit that we won't disclose. But there's some things that have taken him out of the rotation and reps during practice, and none of our guys right now are experienced enough to go in and play and be absolutely completely ready to be where we need to be without practice time. And so if we feel that if there's limitations in practice, then it's probably going to result in limitation on Saturday just because you're not going to be prepared, And so, but he had a good week and he came in and did some good things. And then see the other side of that, there were some times where Max was producing some of the other games, And so you don't take the ball out when you're looking for any amount of production. You got to be careful about pulling the plug on that too. But last night we went into it knowing that was how it's going to be. And we'll continue moving forward in that direction and assessing day by day.
Well, coming up next on the RebZone, college football lives on at Sam Boyd Stadium. Who would have thought? New Mexico playing their home games there this season. Plus, we'll talk about UNLV's Week 5 matchup, Colorado State, after the break.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show. This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
And just when we thought the college football era at Sam Boyd Stadium was over forever, well, then 2020 happened, and the New Mexico football team needed a new place to call home due to a spike in COVID-19 cases in Albuquerque. So UNLV's athletic director Desiree Reed-Francois helped New Mexico move into Sam Boyd Stadium to host their home games this season. The Lobos played their first game in Vegas yesterday against Reno and let a tied game in the third quarter quarter slip away. Reno would win at the neutral site 27-20 and stay undefeated at 4-0 this season. But it is still interesting to know that New Mexico is calling Sam Boyd Stadium home this fall. The Lobos are spending $70,000 a week to house their staff over in Lake Las Vegas. The team has transformed their rooms in their hotel to weight rooms and training rooms. How about that? The players are taking all their classes virtually online and will continue to practice at Sam Boyd Stadium this season. Weird times we are living in, but we're doing it. The Rebels will take another road trip this weekend, somewhere a little colder, although 45 degrees last night in San Jose was probably cold for me. UNLV will face Colorado State next Saturday, a high of 27 degrees last night in Fort Collins. Doesn't sound too fun, but they're headed that way. The Rams are 1-2 this season under their new head coach, Steve Adazio. They're coming off a 52-21 blowout against Boise State. The Broncos' Avery Williams blocked 2 punts that were returned for touchdowns in the first half. Colorado State had just 18 total yards over their 4 first drives and trailed 14-0 before getting a first down. The Rebels lost to the Rams last season on the road 37-17 and will be looking to seal their first win of the season next Saturday for a 2:30 kickoff. We welcome Coach Arroyo back to the show. So 4 games left of the season. How do you evaluate where you are right now with, 4 opponents left? What do you want to see from your team moving forward, starting with Colorado State this Saturday?
That's really the biggest emphasis. It's been every week. It definitely is not a cliche in this building. The most important part about where we're going is tonight. To have the film we've got of the 64 plays and the 48 plays and the 50 plays on offense, defense, special teams, these guys need to sit down and watch each other to get better in our program, to build it the way we want to build it. That's the most important day. And so in the next, I really haven't thought about the big picture other than the fact that we've got a game versus Colorado State this week on the road. We did not get done what we wanted to get done this week on the road. We've got to highlight and emphasize the things we do well, and then we've got to really be critical and assess and be detailed in regards to growing from things we didn't.
And coming up next, the Runnin' Rebels basketball season is just right around the corner. We'll share more on all the new faces the team will have this season and who's expected to have an immediate impact. Keep it on the RebZone. We'll be right back.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show. This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
Vegas, you excited for the Runnin' Rebels season to start soon? This was after the San Diego State win. I have to say, this did happen in 2020, so I can confirm that good things did happen this year. And hey, that whole locker room you're looking at right now, they're basically gone this season. The Rebels only got 3 starters returning this year: Marvin Coleman, Bryce Hamilton, and Mbake Zhang. They also got 7 freshmen on the roster. Yeah, 7. One of the youngest rosters Coach Otzelberger has ever coached. Shall we take a look at the freshman class? Well, there's a lot of them. We'll start with number 22, Nick Blake, just named Mountain West preseason freshman of the year, a Las Vegas native, 6'6" guard, 4-star recruit coming out of the IMG Academy. Coach Otzelberger says Blake is expected to have an immediate impact with the team this season. Number 0, another local kid, Donovan Yap, a 3-star recruit coming out of Arborview High School. And check out number 12, Jalen Martinez, another 4-star recruit, 6'11" center coming from Vallejo, California. He's only a freshman, 6'11". Next, we got number 15, Rhys Brown, a 6'9" forward from Albany, New York. Number 30, Devon Tillis, a small forward coming from LA. And we wrap up the freshman class with Isaac Lindsay, a 3-star recruit, 6'4" guard coming from Wisconsin. And walking on with the Rebels this season is another local kid, Kendrick Gilbert, who played at Durango High School. Coach Otzelberger shares more with us on how different his team will look this season.
Well, we've had a fair amount of turnover on our roster. You mentioned we returned 3 starters, but that means there's 7 guys that were part of our rotation last year that aren't with us. So we're a younger team. In the time with COVID, we've had a lot of freshmen, 6 freshman players, 7 guys in our roster that haven't played college basketball at the Division I level. So to be able to get our process started and working with those guys, we're probably not exactly where we'd like to be, which I'm sure most programs are probably in a similar situation, but I think it's been adapting to a lot of new players and new personalities, putting all those together.
Well, after finishing last season 17-15 overall and losing in a nail-biter to Boise State in the Mountain West Championship quarterfinal, Marvin Coleman and his vets are ready to get on the basketball court later this month and see how they can play better with all this new talent around them this season.
My excitement is through the roof, you know. Just like I was talking about earlier, you know, the Zoom calls and everything, that doesn't attest to how it really feels to be on the court with your teammates, you know. It's been a long off season for me because I'm still pretty bitter about, you know, what happened in March. So it's been long and it's been tough because, you know, we haven't had the same amount of practice time and everything like that. But I think we've been doing a good job of, you know, just getting better, taking everything that we're, you know, getting thrown at us, COVID, or certain little things. And I think we're doing a good job of, you know, just get on to the next play.
The Runnin' Rebels are still waiting for their 20-game schedule to be released later this month, but are getting ready to play in the Maui Invitational on November 30th. Coach Otzelberger is eager to see his new talent get to work.
Well, with David Jenkins, who was picked as the newcomer of the year, David's a very dynamic scorer, shoots the ball with tremendous range and accuracy, was one of the better shooters in all the country a few years ago at South Dakota State. So he's a guy that is a dynamic scorer, competitor. He'll be somebody that has a tremendous impact on our team from day one. Nick Blake received the Freshman of the Year honors, and Nick is a very gifted, talented, bigger athletic guard, can play multiple positions, can knock down the 3, finish around the rim, and great size and length to rebound the basketball. So he also figures to be somebody that plays a prominent role on our team heading into this year.
Coach also shares with us what challenges he faced this summer, putting a new team together in the middle of a pandemic.
Well, the summer was a challenge to start because we weren't able to have our normal summer where we have eight weeks of workouts with our players. They're usually here for 10 weeks total. We weren't able to have that same opportunity. So for a lot of our new players, which we have quite a few of them, 8 of our scholarship players are new. It's been a challenge because we're not able to implement that system in the summer. Some of those fundamental techniques and things we hope to incorporate that will carry over once we start practice. It's also been challenging because there's been so much uncertainty. So with our players trying to be adaptable, being willing to pivot each and every day, not knowing what our conference season might look like, when we might have our first game, is there a chance for games to get canceled, postponed, all these sort of things. So we've tried to stay focused on that day, what we can do to get better, our improvement, our focus on the practice court, and we know that there's going to be a lot of things thrown at us. We need to just be able to adapt and change, and we've stressed that to our guys from the first day that we did have them here.
And coming up after the break, we'll wrap it up with Coach Arroyo as he gives us his final thoughts for the night as the Rebels have hit their halfway mark through their shortened 8-game season. They're still looking for their first win with their new head coach, Marcus Arroyo.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show. This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
Weeks in the books and the UNLV football team is still winless. They face the best teams in the Mountain West so far: San Diego State, Reno, Fresno State, and now San Jose State. A win next week against Colorado State is vital to their program. After Colorado State, they close out their season to Wyoming and Boise State at home, and then hop on a plane to Hawaii on December 12th. Head coach Marcus Arroyo wraps up his final thoughts with us on the remainder of their season.
We're not going to hide. There's going to be no secrets. There's no shortcuts to getting where we want to go. We've got to do a better job on the special teams. We've got to do better on defense, offense. We've got to produce better. I mean, if you want to win, you've got to execute in those regards. And it doesn't go straight to the players. It starts with me and it goes down to the staff, and it'll always be that way. every bad call will go to me, and every good call will go to them. That's how it's got to be. And I've got to do a better job in regards to getting our guys and making sure that we go through our practice plan and the way we eat and the way we do things to make sure we're getting our guys the best chance to win. And I've got to articulate that to the staff, and then we've got to impart that on players on a practice day. So we're going to do everything we can this week to make sure we don't have a lot of the same mistakes that are popping up. We're going to take the opportunity to continue to evaluate the roster, maybe be young guys, maybe get some older guys in different positions. It may be some subtle changes and nuances of offense and defense, special teams, and schematically. We're not going to pretend like we've thrown things out there and said this is exactly how it's got to be. I'm not wired that way, and none of our staff is, and these players know that we're right behind them.
Thanks so much for staying up late with me. It's an earlier kickoff next Saturday in Fort Collins, 2:30 in the afternoon, so you can watch the Rebels during the day and be in bed by 9. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you right here next Sunday.